I struggled to climb up the pipe, trying to reach the rooftop, but when I saw my surroundings, I was completely stunned. This prison was actually floating in the middle of an endless ocean. Now, even without guards chasing me, I couldn't escape from this vast sea. For safety's sake, I had no choice but to return the way I came and look for another way out. The reason I was locked up in this maximum security prison was because I'm actually a master escape artist. A few days ago, the FBI invited me to test a new prison. If I can successfully escape, I'd earn $50 million. I accepted the challenge without hesitation, but before we could finalize the details, I was suddenly subdued by a group of men in black. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in an unfamiliar prison. Here, not only was each prisoner locked in an individual glass cell, but panoramic cameras monitored everything in real time. Faced with this extraordinary special prison, I immediately began to panic. I urgently reported the evacuation code to the warden, but he had no idea what I was talking about. My heart sank to the bottom. I realized I'd been set up and framed, but sitting around waiting for death wasn't my style. Even without outside help, I still believed I could find a way to escape. However, after carefully observing everything, I couldn't find a single weak point. Just when I was despairing, Arnold, the boss among the prisoners, suddenly approached me. It turned out he'd noticed I'd been casing the place and guessed I must be planning an escape. So we hit it off and decided to cooperate. Arnold asked if there was anything he could help with, so he managed to get himself into the interrogation room and began wildly taunting the warden. The warden got angry and had the guards punish him with waterboarding. They shoved a hose into Arnold's mouth, and after dozens of seconds, he was nearly drowned. But at that moment, he managed to grab a drain cover that was only available in the interrogation room. Afterward, he handed the cover to me. Seeing his determination, I revealed my true identity as an escape artist and shared my observations with him. The internal architecture of this prison was almost entirely vertical, which suggested we were likely underground, and there was a sound of water beneath the solitary confinement cell. I suspected there was a water pipe there, surely with a way up. Next, we needed to get back to solitary confinement. Once the plan was set, we acted. Arnold was responsible for starting a fight, while I squeezed a piece of bread into my hand. The brawl soon attracted the guards, and we were both thrown into the bright light solitary confinement cell.
As soon as I got in, I took out the drain cover Arnold had given me and reflected the bright light onto the rivets. The 100-degree heat caused the steel rivets to expand and then fall off. I quickly picked them out. Once done, I stuffed the bread into my mouth and signaled Arnold to create a distraction. Arnold started yelling and shouting. The warden indeed turned toward him. I immediately stood up, stuck the chewed bread paste onto the camera to block its view, then lifted the floor panel and climbed up through the water pipe. When I reached the top and opened the cover to get out, I was stunned. This wasn't underground, as I'd suspected, but above an endless ocean. I was on the deck of a massive cruise ship, and there were guards everywhere. I had no choice but to go back. Although I now knew the location, I couldn't think of any escape plan. Being trapped in the middle of the ocean, there was simply no way out. At this point, the warden noticed the nails and discovered my escape attempt. He began having his men torture me. Whenever I tried to sleep, the guards would knock on the window to keep me awake. When I was so exhausted, I passed out. The guards would come in and beat me to wake me up. As a result, I was groggy every day, constantly fainting.